Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. I'm your host, Eric, and I gotta admit, this podcast is kind of, it's gonna be a little special because we're gonna be talking about WrestleMania and, all this other jazz and stuff like that. And I'm wondering why my computer is frozen. Great. Hope y'all can still hear me. All that. Okay, no, I think we're good now. I think we're good. I don't know why, but it's having technical difficulties here. Okay, all right. There we go. No, I think we're back. Okay, I think we're back. Let me just check. Okay, no, that works. Okay. All right. Awesome. Whew. A little bumpy. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about a full WrestleMania episode. We're going to be discussing night one and night two of WrestleMania, the biggest spectacle in sports entertainment. Hope you all watched it. It was actually pretty darn good, but I'll get into that pretty soon. Next, third segment, we're going to be talking about Cody Rhodes finishing his story, something special that Cody did. Obviously it deserves attention. So we'll talk about that. And finally, final skit, don't go anywhere. We will be talking about Triple H, Paul Levesque, getting the torch passed down from Vince McMahon. So essentially, this was the first ever WrestleMania without a McMahon in it, ever since Vince McMahon created this like 40 years ago. So yeah, it's been decades and decades long as for the McMahon family. But before we move on, we get a number of questions during the show from viewers. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you to use the Tips of the Nations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. This puts your question on top of the list so that I can see it. We can have a nice little back and forth conversation about it. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. And it just all in all, it helps the show, guys. A positive review goes a long way. Peace, love, and positivity here at the GSMC Sports Network. Again, the link is GSMC podcast.net. GSMC. I don't know if it sounded like I said Z there, but all right. Well, so let's go ahead and get on into it. It was a pretty awesome WrestleMania, if I do say so myself. We're going to be talking about WrestleMania Night One, and it started off with a bang. You had the women's world championship match between Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. So that match was pretty cool. Um, a lot of a lot of a lot of physicality. A lot of these, both these women really, really wanted it, and I know that's like obvious. You know what I mean? You're fighting for the belt at WrestleMania. Obviously, anyone wants it. You know what I mean? But they really put it out there, left everything out on the line. Rhea Ripley, she came out and she, had a live performance for her theme song. So I thought that was pretty awesome. This is my brutality, and it just and it just goes crazy, fire, flames, and all that. So I felt kind of bad for Becky, but Becky, she put up a hell of a fight. You can't really, and right now Rhea Ripley, she's just so dominant. I don't know who's going to be able to finally dethrone her. I'm thinking maybe like if they bring Charlotte back, but then again, like I don't know, like Rhea Ripley right now, even with the crowd, she's like so over. I remember in a interview with Becky Lynch, basically discussing if Rhea Ripley was like a heel. She was like, honestly, I don't think she's probably if she's a heel, she's the worst heel ever, because fans still like her. She you can tell like she obviously loves the attention from the fans and stuff like that. And Rhea, like she's never been used to getting this kind of attention, positive or negative. So as of like that brute force that women's wrestling kind of has kind of succumbed to after like you had Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, and Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, and now with Rhea Ripley, like these women are becoming more and more like just dominant champions, kind of like in the men's division, which is kind of cool. Honestly, I like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Hell of a match, all in all. It took a Riptide to the turnbuckle, and then another Riptide. So a total of three Riptides. But she was able to beat Becky Lynch and retain her Women's World Championship. All right. So next we have the six-pack ladder match, which was the tag team ladder match, which is pretty cool. Like honestly, I like the way they split up the belts. It was about time. It was about time. They're going to be doing the WWE draft within weeks. or within months. And they kind of want to get back to like that brand supremacy, so they can kind of set it up for Survivor Series. Although I did like that Survivor Series where they did bring NXT in, and it was like a triple threat match where you had the Intercontinental Champion, the United States Champion, and the North American Champion fight in a triple threat match. And you had the NXT Champion, the World's Heavyweight Champion, and the Universal Champion. So I don't know. I think it'd be cool to do something like that. But all in all, we'll see what happens there. But anyways, the match was really, really awesome. Damian Priest and Finn Balor did not retrieve any of the tag team titles, SmackDown or Raw. Um, I to kind of talk like I really liked how DIY, like, I don't know, they were flying all over the place, flying on the like they were breaking most of the tables. Like, let's just be honest. Like, they were just absolutely like they were just gunning it. And I liked how they came out with like the DX kind of look. Like Johnny Gargano was like the Shawn Michaels, and Tommaso Ciampa was like the Triple H. So I thought that was pretty dope. Me as a Shawn Michaels and a Triple H DX fan. But New Catch Republic, Tyler Bates and Pete Dunne did a really good job. The New Day, there was a couple times where like I think I saw it. Somebody hit Kofi Kingston with a chair. No, I think it was Damian Priest hit him with the chair, and it was like, oh, like you couldn't help but to cringe. You're like, oh my god, ouch, like that's just, oh my god. But they ended up didn't they didn't even get any of the titles, so hey, jokes on that. I'm just kidding. No. But the Awesome Truth, which is the Miz and our Truth, were able to retrieve one of the SmackDowns. I think they won the Raw titles. And then Austin Theory and Grayson Waller won the SmackDown ones, which was pretty surprising. I gotta be honest, when I was kind of like reviewing this match with my wife, and I was like, honestly, I don't see where Austin Theory and Grayson Waller fit in the tag team title, picture on SmackDown or Raw. But I'm excited to see what since we're now in the Paul Levesque era of the WWE. So honestly, he put on a hell of a WrestleMania 40, so I'm excited to see what he decides to do with these two guys. It's probably going to end up being genius. Everything he touches turns to gold. So, with that, but Austin Theory was kind of like that last Vince McMahon guy. Like, he won that Money in the Bank match, and he was the United States champion. Had a nice little reign, but all in all, I don't think he was really ready at that moment in his career to kind of be like heavyweight title contenders kind of thing. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see these two guys like fight. So with that being said, the next skit was the Fireflies were inside the Lincoln Financial Field. They showed the documentary preview, which is already out. I've watched this. It's really, really good. But I like how everyone was still like taking out their phones and doing like the tributes toward Wyndham Rotunda, and then like I don't know, it's just cool. It's just cool because WrestleMania is one thing. WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl, and just to do something on the grandest stage of them all, like be able to, you know, kind of like pay respects toward a guy who changed the industry, which Bray Wyatt did. And I don't know, I thought it was super cool. You saw the phones out and everything like that, and I know it was kind of kind of tear jerking. Next, you had the Rey Mysterio and Andrade taking on Dirty Dom and Santos Escobar. This match was, as expected. They were, there was like a father and son thing. They really wanted to show how Dominic was like such a heel and such a total jerk to his Hall of Fame father, who was Dirty Dom keeps calling him a deadbeat dad. And but Jason Kelsey came out also with Lance Johnson, an offensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles. So they came out with the luchador mask, and they kind of help assist Andrade and Rey Mysterio win. And I just you saw Dominic Mysterio go flying because like oh my god, like these two guys, Kelsey and Johnson, like they just leveled him, like it's crazy. But all in all, I kind of thought Rey Mysterio was going to win, but there has to be a time where Dominic should get the win over his father. But only time will tell when they'll finally like let that happen, or if they even ever let that happen. So Anyway, okay. So Lil Wayne actually made an appearance at WWE WrestleMania Night 1. He introduced Jay Uso, which was kind of cool. Honestly, when pop culture comes into WrestleMania, it's although it may seem cheesy, and you're like, "Right, what's Lil Wayne doing here? Like, what's Wheezy doing here?" And like, I don't, it's just like I don't know. Some people like it, some people don't like it, but I don't, if he's there and he was trying to put over, Jey Uso, I'm for it. You know what I mean? Like, but just keep it wrestling. Just keep it wrestling. All right, so the match between the twins, Jimmy and Jay, was pretty good. There was a point in the match where it looked like Jimmy was ready to throw in the towel and try to make amends with his brother, saying he's sorry and stuff like that. And I kind of saw it and I was like, this is why I kind of think that they might be like saving like a reunion for these guys within like a next, probably like a year. I think it's still going to be kind of fresh, as soon as, it dies down from the bloodline disbanding and stuff like that. But I think these two are going to get together, and they should get together. They're amazing to watch. They're an amazing tag team. They have great chemistry. They're freaking brothers, for Christ's sakes. And they just know how to get the job done, and they know how to entertain the crowd. So, as a WWE fan, like, you want to see stuff like that. Like, I would like to see the New Day have like another title reign, or just like I like to see the Usos have another title reign. But only time will tell. So Jay picked up the win, all in all. Although Jimmy, he got the Uso splash and the super kick, and it just wasn't enough. His brother's just too strong. I think he's the little brother by like a second. I'm just kidding. No, he's. I think Jay might be the little brother. By the way they look, he looks like the little brother. So we'll just call him the little brother for twins. But I don't know. I kind of saw this coming because right now Jey Uso's singles career is kind of more over than Jimmy's. But let's see what Jimmy does after this Roman Reigns loss in WrestleMania. So I'm excited to see what happens with Jimmy. Like, I hope he doesn't leave, or hope he doesn't get released. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. I feel like that's like the moral of tonight or after WrestleMania. Seeing all these storylines develop after these matches, you're like, only time will tell. Um, Next, we have Bianca Belair teaming up with Naomi, teaming up with Jade Cargill against Damage Control. This match was exactly kind of what we all expected. It was kind of like a flex on how powerful and how dominant Jade Cargill could be. So I felt bad for Damage Control a little bit. They kind of got because Bianca Belair could probably take on the Kabuki Warriors by herself. And the SmackDown before WrestleMania, you saw, Jade, kind of like, I don't want to say dominate Damage Control, because it was, obviously, I think Damage Control is like kind of at its end. Like, you lost Bailey, Dakota Kai, and the Kabuki Warriors and the Io Sky. They all lost. They all lost at WrestleMania. Totally momentum killers. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the women's tag team titles, but I can honestly see Bianca and Naomi teaming up and going after that title. And maybe Jade, maybe goes after Bailey. Who knows? But maybe like the draft will, tell a better story or kind of foreshadow things a little better. All right, next we had the Intercontinental Championship match. It was a hell of a match. You had Gunther and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, against all odds, came out the victor. Um, I wasn't like mad about it or like upset or anything like that, but I don't know, like I think Gunther was so dominant, and to put over Sami Zayn right now, like I'm interested, like I was discussing before in prior podcasts, like it gets to the point where all the wrestlers inside the Intercontinental division, that are basically they're not there yet for the world's heavyweights. So like let's put them in the Intercontinental or United States division. And I don't know, they kind of I feel like this opens up more matches. Like you're gonna probably see the Chad Gable and Sami Zayn fight at SummerSlam. Oh, and you also have, WrestleMania Backlash. Like Gunther gets invokes his rematch clause. Like who knows what happens after that. So, Sami Zayn isn't quite yet in the clear, but essentially, guys, Gunther, he defeated himself. There were so many times where he jumped off the top rope, did a splash, power bombs after power bombs after power bombs in front of Sammy's wife, and classic, attitude era, which is pretty cool. But I don't know. And then he had a chance to make the cover, and he never did. So Sami Zayn was also he was able to capitalize off that. He did a brainbuster on the top turnbuckle. Gunther started bleeding in his mouth. I saw that actually. I was like, oh my god, like did he botch that move? But anyways, and Sami Zayn hit like a haluva kick. I think he hit two of them, and then bam, lo and behold, you knew and new Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn. I felt cool for the guy. I really did. He deserves the title. It's been a while since he had a title, I think. Yeah, it's been a good minute. It's been a good minute. So, good for Sammy. All right, the final match of WrestleMania Night 1 was The Rock and Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. This basically had like destruction written all over it. Um, they were out in the crowd fighting, going on tables, breaking announce tables, getting, like they were up on the stage at one point, and it was to the point where like they had to split up the cameras and have two views. So I thought that was pretty awesome. I was like, okay, wow, that's awesome. Like I like how they're not totally inside the ring, but they eventually made it back into the ring. And I thought it was kind of funny how The Rock, like once when the ref started counting, like for the count out, he was like, shut up. Like, or you're fired. Like, it was pretty. Like everybody was like, "Oh my god! Like, how are Cody and Seth supposed to win if The Rock has the refs on the payroll?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, but they lost all in all. Like, Cody was hit with the rock bottom and the people's elbow, and The Rock was able to get the cover. But there was some points in the match where I was like, "Man, this kind of like I feel like it was a little slow paced." But I feel like they kind of did that for like The Rock, to kind of get in the hang of things. But all in all, great match. Great match. It set up the Bloodline Rules match for night two, which I really wanted to see. I wanted to see absolute chaos in night two, and it absolutely was. And we'll talk more and more about it in a second. So that's gonna be my next skit, WrestleMania night two. Don't go anywhere because just a lot more WrestleMania stuff to unpack. So all right.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows where 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. I'm your host, Eric. Just to kind of reiterate what we talked about, we recently spoke upon WrestleMania Night 1, all the shocking things that happened, all like the possible storylines that could develop with the wins, the title contentions, also like for those who retained, like I think Rhea Ripley was the only one. Yeah, she was the only one to retain her title on Night 1. So, that was pretty cool. But before we get into night two, let's go ahead and, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link. During the show, we get a number of questions from the viewers. So to ensure that your show gets read on air, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions up on top so I can, so I can see it, so we can talk about it. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. I really like to hear some feedback from the crowd. As a podcaster, just knowing that people are like engaging in content, super cool. Like, so, tell me you like me, tell me you hate me. Don't hate me. No, I'm just kidding. But it really helps the show. We love positive feedback. We love peace, love, and positivity at the GSMC Sports Network. So, again, the link is the gsmcpodcast.net. So let's go ahead and move on. WrestleMania Night 2. Oh man, this was a doozy. This whole WrestleMania was just absolutely like it was crazy, but it was super cool in like the craziest kind of way. At the beginning of the WrestleMania Night 2, you had Stephanie McMahon come out and address the WWE universe. It was kind of heartwarming because you can kind of tell, like, although like she wasn't allowed to say her father's name, you can kind of tell like she kind of knew that it should be Vince that because of all the BS that happened. Well, not be allegations and stuff like that. I'm not saying that's you know BS or anything like that. But because of just all the stuff that's been happening with Vince McMahon, I think Stephanie kind of wishes her father could have passed the torch himself to Triple H or to Paul Levesque, his son-in-law. But she was very emotional when she was up there. She thanked the crowd and stuff like that for sticking with the company through all the ugly times and to get ready for this new era of Paul Levesque, which has been, she said this WrestleMania 40 was basically his baby. This was his first ever WrestleMania. Kind of compares to Vince's WrestleMania 1. You know what I mean? Kind of got to pull out all the strings and get the fans back into it after all the stuff that's been surrounding the company, like, you know, bad or good. So I don't know. You can kind of see, in Stephanie's voice that she, I don't know, she kind of, and she's the daughter. She's the daughter of the guy. Like, no matter what happens, like, you'll always be my dad. You know what I mean? Like, you'll always be my dad. So I thought that was pretty cool. Thought that was a little sad, but she was like, "Let's get ready for a night two, WrestleMania," and she did the "Are You Ready" DX run, and it was cool. It was very, very cool. All right, also CM Punk came out, so which was a nice little treat for all the fans in Philadelphia because you had the and like he came out and it was like, oh my god, like, and Triple H was a huge reason why CM Punk actually came back into the WWE because when CM Punk left, he obviously he left with like an axe to grind for not getting what he deserved for the company, and and I'm obviously I'm not saying like it's like he deserved to do the pipe bomb or he didn't, but he was just he was pissed off. He was pissed off. He saw how the company was kind of playing favorites and stuff like that, and what would you do in a workplace if you consistently saw that happening? But moving on, he came out. And he was the guest commentator for the world's heavyweight title match, which kicked off WrestleMania Night 2. You had Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. Just beating the heck out of each other, man. Absolutely. Like there was claymores after claymores, there was pedigrees, there was stomps, and it was absolute chaos. It was actually, it was fun as heck to watch, to be honest. Because there were so many times in the match where I was like, okay, now this is where McIntyre's gonna win. And there's also a couple of times where I was like, oh, this is where Seth's gonna retain. Like, but then you have the kickouts and stuff like that. And Seth Rollins said basically like, oh, you're gonna have to kill me to get this title off me. And then that's when Drew McIntyre hit like the fourth or flip the fifth Claymore. And that basically did it. And Seth, he did have a match in night one where he teamed with Cody against, the final boss and Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. But, that's kind of, the price that's kind of what you deserve. Not deserve. I don't want to say that. It sounds kind of bad or malicious. That's kind of what do you expect? Like, you know what I mean? You go in a hellacious match against The Rock, one of the best wrestlers in WWE history, and then you face Roman Reigns, the best WWE, superstar of our time. Like it's not an easy. It's a doozy, man. Like so go try to jump through hurdles and defend your title after that. How can you expect to win it? But I think even CM Punk said it, like, this guy's body's frail, like Drew McIntyre, which kind of, took away from Drew McIntyre, but he was able to get the win, which was super cool. But he had to, of course, he had to get on top of the announce table and just, start trolling CM Punk. And then CM Punk got fed up with it, tripped him, fell on the table. Drew fell on the table, and CM Punk took off his cast, and he just knocked Drew McIntyre out. But then that's when you heard the Judgment Day theme song, and it was like, oh, like even when I saw it, I was like, what? And you saw Damian Priest come out, and he's like, and he hit, I think he hit Drew McIntyre in the face with the Money in the Bank briefcase first. He did that, and then he turned in his Money in the Bank, and then he did the South of Heaven's choke slam, and it was just all done after that. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked because Drew McIntyre was one of those guys where I was like, you know what, he deserves another stab at the championship after like basically him holding up, the company during COVID where there wasn't any fans and everything like that. So I got a little excited, but then I got more excited when Damian Priest because I was like, oh my god, like what are they gonna do now? Like I'm kind of hoping like they have like a triple threat or like a fatal four-way match between Damian Priest, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and like Drew McIntyre. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be awesome to see fatal four-way match. But all in all, I felt bad for Drew, but that's what you get, man. That's what you get. You talk the mess. You can't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk, bro. And CM Punk was like so ecstatic that Drew McIntyre lost the championship. Like he was clapping. It was really funny. It was really funny, just furthering their rivalry. Eventually, they're going to fight one on one, and honestly, I kind of can see Damian Priest and Finn Balor kind of feuding over like who wants to be the champion, and Finn Balor kind of feeling not jealous, but kind of holding animosity because the only reason why he lost his heavyweight championship, the Universal, was because of an injury due to unprecedented circumstances and stuff like that. But I don't know. I would like to see Finn in that heavyweight title contention again. So I don't know. This might be a nice little chance to kind of have like a nice little way to kind of break up Judgment Day because they've been going on like for a good 2 years. I remember when they kind of first started, they were like 6 or 7 months in. I think they recently got rid of Edge, and then they, you know, got Finn Balor. He took over, and I was like, this stable isn't really going anywhere. Like they're not really like winning championships. They're not really like making like a dent in this organization. So I kind of declared them KIA probably like a year ago or like 8 months ago. But in recent actions, they've been doing pretty good. Obviously, Rhea still has the world's women's. Finn and Damian lost their tag team titles, but now Damian Priest is the WWE World's Heavyweight Champion. So, I think whatever comes on here on out with the storyline with Damian Priest is going to be pretty good. So, I think they did good with that. Next match, you had Snoop Dogg guest commentate, and you also have Bubba Ray Dudley as the special guest referee during this Philly street fight between Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits against the Final Testament, which is Karrion Kross and the authors of Pain. But all in all, Karrion Kross, he kind of did himself in, man. You don't slap Bubba Ray Dudley. You just don't do that, dude. And then Bobby Lashley was able to spear him, and then they, he did the get the tables, which was pretty cool. Everybody, got jazzed and stuff like that. But as a WWE fan, it was really cool to see Bubba Ray come out. I really liked seeing Bubba Ray Dudley. Like, I know when he left the company to go to TNA, like, there was a little bit of animosity and stuff like that, but not too much. But, and then, he did his due diligence over there, and like and then he coming back and forth and back and but it was it was kind of cool to see WWE legends kind of put their name inside like the first ever Paul Levesque WrestleMania. So it honestly doesn't really surprise me that Triple H did that. Next, you had the match between LA Knight defeating AJ Styles. These guys went right at it even before, you know, like basically before they were even introduced, and it was a good match to kind of put LA Knight over. But once again, I was a little sad because I know that AJ Styles' contract is going to be up, and if he's just the guy to kind of help put people over, before his departure, then I'm going to be a little sad. We're going to lose the phenomenal one, but LA Knight's good. He's really, the fans love him. I love him. I can find myself quoting him sometimes, like "yeah," or "let me talk to you." Like, he's like that. He's like that classic WWE star. He has the catchphrases. He has the skills on the mic. He has the crap talking abilities and stuff like that. And he's athletic as hell. Like he can perform inside of the ring. He's a high flyer, but then he can also like be powerful. He's also very finesse, where he can like do some, submissions and like jump off ladders and stuff like that. Like he's like an all around, WWE superstar. So nothing but positive things to LA Knight, and honestly, he has a pretty bright future with the company. So you can expect him probably to have a World Heavyweight Championship match pretty soon. Next was the United States Championship match between Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. This match was started with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens trying to take out the weaker Logan Paul. Well, the weaker, which they like to call him because they don't think he's an actual champion. But it got to the point where they actually had to fight themselves. Randy and Owens. But all in all, the best way to win is you can just hang in there, especially like if you're a former like a boxing analogy, like you could be taking hits, letting the guy get out their stamina and aggression, and then you just tire him out, like you bob and weave, like what I mean, the rubido or whatever it's called, and then eventually the most opportunistic man, as a besides the rated R superstar Edge, you kind of have Logan Paul now. Like Logan Paul was able to bust out the brass knuckles. He knew that he couldn't get disqualified in a triple threat match, and he knocked out Orton, and eventually got picked up the dub. So good for him. He was the other champion that retained his belt in during WrestleMania. So I thought that was pretty cool. Before we get into the main event, the last kind of thing, we have the WWE Women's Championship, Bayley defeating Io Sky. I think this was really bad. This was really bad for Io Sky. Like, she was basically hanging on by a thread for Damage Control. And I'm just wondering what they're going to do with her. And also, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka, she's always like, I kind of miss Asuka being in the singles competition. Like, it'd be cool to kind of see Io and Kairi kind of be the Kabuki Warriors. But I don't know. Like, I think this was, bad for Io Sky. Hopefully her career doesn't totally plummet in wrestling, or like if she goes back down to NXT. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. All WrestleMania did was just, leave questions to be, like cliffhangers, so to speak, and just draw the audience in, and that's what you got to do in entertainment. You got to keep them wanting more, and we want more, we want more, we want more, and I was happy for Bayley to win a championship. So she plays a good champion. I can say that about her. I wasn't really a fan of her heel, because even in some of her, her crap talking promos, it just seems so fake. Like you can totally tell from a person's personality that you're like, man, this seems kind of forced. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think Bayley's ready for this heel role yet, but she was able to create Damage Control, and eventually they turned on her. But you kind of have that in your back pocket as like an accolade, or a success or an accomplishment. So you can't take that away from Bayley. So that was good for Bayley. So yeah. Well, the next match we're gonna talk about, I have a whole segment about it. I have Cody Rhodes finishing his story. Cody Rhodes finishes his story, able to defeat Roman Reigns in a Bloodlines rules match. So we're gonna talk about that. So don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We recently talked about WrestleMania, both night one and night two, possible storylines, why there was a bunch of cliffhangers, and what to expect for some of these superstars that lost at WrestleMania, and also, what to expect from someone who was victorious at the grandest stage of them all. But all in all, it was the main event. The main event was it was really, really like it. Oh, it was magical. That's honestly probably the best word that I can say. It was pretty tear jerking. I gotta be honest. But let's just jump on into it. So Cody Rhodes had Roman Reigns beat, and then the first person to get involved was Jimmy Uso super kicked Cody when he was about to hit the crossroads, and then that's when Jay came out and he speared Jimmy off the stage onto like tables, and it was like, oh, it was complete chaos. It was bedlam. It was, Jim Ross was like, oh, slobber knocker, like if he was there to commentate the match, which I kind of wish he was. I actually left a comment on his Twitter telling him that he should come back to that he should have commented on he should have commentaried on that match, but you can't always get what you want. So you know sad to say, but Jim Ross wasn't there. Anyways, so then that was happening, and then Roman Reigns kept getting the upper hand, and then Cody, when the moment he bring it back and started building momentum, that's when another guy came out. Then Solo came out, and then where Cody Rhodes kicked out of the spear and the what did Umaga call it? The Samoan Spike. The Samoan Spike. It was like a double finisher. Cody was able to kick out, but and then John Cena's music hits. And I think the last match John Cena fought was against Solo Sikoa, where Solo Sikoa won. And I think that was the last match Solo Sikoa has, won in the WWE. So he's been on a little bit of a losing streak there. But John Cena was able to help. He did a hell of a lot. He attitude adjustment, the AA through the announce table. And then as soon as that happened, then The Rock came out. The final boss came out, and he looked at John Cena and he called him he called him an SOB, called him a POS, and like he was just ready to fight, man. Like The Rock and John Cena, obviously, they're both like huge stars in the wrestling community, and they also had like quite the rivalry back in 2013, 2014, where they fought in like two consecutive WrestleManias. I think they fought in a total of three, with John Cena winning the rubber match. But no, it was very, very cool. And then John Cena was rock bottomed. It looked pretty dire for Cody. And then you had the old school Shield theme song with Seth Rollins coming out with the bulletproof vest. But he really, he came out as mostly a distraction because he was hit by Roman Reigns with a chair like immediately when he came into the ring, which I thought was kind of not funny, but I was like, because you hear the music and you're like, oh, stuff's about to go down right now. And then, oh, like it was one of those things. It was kind of funny. But, and then after that, you saw the lights go dark, and then none other than the Phenom himself, the WrestleMania King, the Undertaker, like came out and he choke slammed The Rock, and it was just crazy. Like how you had to have this team of people that that which I kind of anticipated and I kind of really wanted to see. I kind of wanted to see essentially the Bloodline versus the WWE, which you kind of saw that. Like you had The Rock come out, you had John Cena, and then you had Seth come out, Jimmy, Solo, and then The Undertaker just put the icing on the cake, and it was super cool. It was super cool the way they did it with the legends and stuff like that. But they said Stone Cold Steve Austin was supposed to be there, but I don't know. Maybe he missed his flight or something. No, I don't know. But I was kind of waiting for him to come out. I was like, okay, so The Rock's gonna beat up The Undertaker, and then Stone Cold's gonna come out to kind of reignite that like that Austin and the Rock rivalry that we saw during the '90s, like constantly. So, but we didn't get it, but we got just enough, and it was totally badass. Super cool the way that Cody Rhodes hit three crossroads, covered Roman for that 1, 2, 3, finished his story. Absolutely, amazing. absolutely, it was breathtaking. It was super cool. And another thing that happened that was actually like pretty cool and I really wanted to see happen was that WrestleMania 10 where Bret Hart defeated Yokozuna to kind of dethrone and kind of bring the championship back to the WWE. So I thought that was super cool. Sami Zayn came out, Randy Orton came out. Um, it was cool. And then Mama Rhodes and his wife came out too. It was pretty cool. Cody deserved it. But I don't know, just going all in all, like how Cody, finished his story. Um, I don't know. When I saw Cody Rhodes, he was Dusty's son and it was super cool. But he seemed like he was kind of a bust. Like right off the bat, he was like the only thing he was able to win is like the Intercontinental Championship there, here and there. For me, like to kind of put it in comparison, he was kind of like the Dolph Ziggler, where he'd be in tag team matches, he'd be kind of that throwaway superstar, like where he was used to get put over by like new up and comers, and his career kind of looked pretty dead in the water. But of course, he had his little things where he did. He had tag teams with Hardcore Holly. He did Legacy with Ted DiBiase and Randy Orton. And he also did the Dashing Cody Rhodes, where he was that like that that pretty boy, pretty boy wrestler who would give fashion tips and like to other superstars and be like, "Oh, you're wearing that." And I think I actually did it to a couple girls a couple times too. So I was like, "Okay, that's a little interesting," but you know, it's WWE. That anything can happen. But and then also there was Stardust, where he essentially teamed up with his I think it's half brother Dustin and Goldust, and they were able to win a couple of championship reigns. I think they actually beat the Usos once to when they won the tag team championships, but ultimately that didn't really last. Both of them ended up leaving the company, and we all thought that that was the end we were ever going to see of Cody Rhodes. You kind of had Dusty Rhodes leave this legacy behind for his son to pick up and be kind of like a favorable or a successful WWE superstar, but that never happened. So that kind of led people to believe that Cody was, his career in WWE was kind of dead in the water. May 22nd, I think of 2016, he was released by the WWE. That's where he went to TNA for a little bit. He went to Ring of Honor. He got a taste of a heavyweight championship when he defeated Christopher Daniels to win the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. And after that, he was able to pick up his stuff, go to AEW, where he wrestled there. He was a producer, and he was also the company's executive vice president. So he helped kind of build that company to what it is right now. And which is super cool. He was the inaugural TNT champion. I think he's a 3-time TNT champion. Don't quote me on that, but I think he is. Uh, but I don't know. It's just so crazy. And then he came back to the WWE, had that thing with Roman, had that. No, first he had the thing with Seth where he did get injured, and people were like, "Okay, great, you brought back this guy that was that was one a total bust." Two, like the best thing he can really had on his resume was the Intercontinental Championship. And three, this frail man, I think he was 38 or 39 when he signed, or I think it was 38 when he signed back into the WWE, and he got hurt. He got hurt in a Hell in a Cell match with, Seth Rollins, and that put Cody on the shelf for a little bit. But then he came back, won the Royal Rumble, went to WrestleMania to fight Roman, but ultimately lost because of Solo Sikoa. Took a whole nother year, had a feud with Brock Lesnar, and talk about a guy. Talk about a guy with probably the best thing to define his career in WWE is probably got to be patience. He was patient. Triple H took over, told him to come back. Same with Pritchard, like he mentioned it last night. He wouldn't be back, and if it wasn't for those two. So, thank God they did what they did to bring back Cody. I think it was really cool. Cody Rhodes is going to be a star, and it's going to be interesting to see how he holds up the Paul Levesque era, which we are now ushered in. So I'm super excited about that. All right. Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to finish off with the passing of the torch. Essentially, Vince McMahon, Andy McMahon from the WWE is kind of now extinct. Now Triple H, he has the reins. He has the keys to the car, keys to the Ferrari. So far, it seems like he's been doing pretty good. So let's just take a look on, let's just take a look into, how we came to this Paul Levesque era. Don't go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We recently talked about WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. All this possible storylines and, possible, future championship matches we can see with new crown champions and how their appeal to the WWE roster is a little more like practical as opposed to like a champion like Gunther or Roman Reigns. And we recently talked about how Cody finished his story, kind of how he was viewed by the WWE universe, and kind of his rise to back to the WWE. So that was super super awesome. Next, we're going to talk about my man, definitely on my my ring of not Ring of Honor, my Mount Rushmore of amazing wrestlers. Triple H, or Paul Levesque. So Triple H was a complete badass. He was kind of like that, like he's gonna go by his own rules and like not follow what Vince McMahon has to do. He was kind of like that antagonist after the Austin era. After that Austin era, where he would cross the boss and he would mess with Vince McMahon and stuff like that. Ultimately, to be kind of like put in a position for him to succeed. And so yeah, honestly, um, it's like I said before, during this podcast about Stephanie McMahon coming out night two to address the WWE universe, where you kind of wish that her father was out there, kind of saying goodbye on his own terms, but due to unprecedented circumstances, it just wasn't meant to be. He, couldn't leave on a good note with TKO. So now you have Triple H taking over. Vince was forced to resign, and Cody Rhodes even called it the redemption era, which I kind of agree with. I think a lot of people like they kind of lost interest in the WWE, especially with all this with the allegations constantly happening. Settlements, $15 million to, I think it was like up to like 10 different women in the WWE, and it was just like a mess. Like, and then you had stars in and out. People would, people left like Aleister Black and Keith Lee, and they're like, man, like what happened to these good NXT stars that we look forward to seeing on the main brand? But when they made it to the main brand, Vince McMahon really didn't know what to do. He didn't really know how to like use those characters into the contemporary storylines of either shows of Raw and SmackDown. So I don't know. It's kind of I'm looking forward to seeing it, and it kind of like I said, I was a huge Vince McMahon fan growing up. He did a lot for WWE. We can't bury our heads in the ground and be like sure, he has the bad stuff like a lot of people do, especially in entertainment business and stuff like that. But he also helped the Attitude Era grow. Vince McMahon helped the Attitude Era. He also put Stone Cold Steve Austin over, and he made that feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin entertaining as hell to watch. And then he also did just enough to win the Monday Night Wars, where where WCW could have very much they were kicking the WWE's butt in the rankings. And Vince McMahon did just enough just to beat out his competition, and who would have known what the WWE would have become if WCW would have absorbed it. Also, you had the implementation of the WWE network. A lot of people thought the network wasn't a good idea, but Vince overall, was able to, kind of like, some people are good like when it comes to inside the ring, and some people are good when it comes to like the conference room and stuff like that, where you're a good talker, you're smooth, you're able to like, like a businessman. Like he was able to be a good businessman. So he was able to do that and make the WWE network work. And he also inserted himself into storylines. Like there was a couple of times, like with that street fight with Shawn Michaels, where and him and Shane came out to fight DX Hell in a Cell, like where they would just get the crap beat out of him, man. Like, and he didn't have to do that. These guys were millionaires. Like they could have just sat back and just watched their money, like watch their bank account go. But instead, like they're like, you know what? We have to help this product. Like this is our baby. So that's why, they came out and they did what they did. And it was pretty cool. And another good thing that Shane really did was or that Vince did was choose Triple H instead of Shane. He did give the keys to Shane for a little bit, but a lot of the storylines that he created, like I think Retribution was one of them, and I think the WWE Underground, where there was like fighters, and I think that was no, I don't think it was. But anyways, and it just wasn't really working out. I don't think Shane really had that much of a creative mind, so he essentially went to Paul Levesque, Stephanie's husband, who's been in the ring, who knows, what these guys go through and how to communicate with them. The more and more a boss could effectively communicate with his employees in any given business situation, it's going to do really well. It's going to do very, very well. Like, of course, you have to have that like hierarchy of, you kind of have that, you kind of a little bit of a power distance, but sometimes it's good to kind of, that's why a lot of companies like promote within, because, you put in a lot of time on the lower, like on, and you work yourself, you bust your ass, and you deserve it. And that's what Triple H has done. Like a lot of people are like, oh, he just married the boss's daughter and stuff like that. I don't agree with that at all. At all. Like he came out to the WWE. He busted his ass in wrestling matches. He would fight sometimes twice a night, like 3 times, 4 times a week. And he carried the WWE. He was like that bad guy where he did where he was with the Generation X, or where he was with the McMahon Helmsley era, and where he had that on stage fight with Stephanie McMahon, and also like he was like he did Evolution with Randy Orton, Dave Batista, and he also feuded with John Cena, and that kind of helped John Cena get on the map. So Triple H really paid his dues, and he really did all he could to promote the company and kind of help these young stars flourish. And to be honest, a lot of these guys are, knocking on the door of the WWE Hall of Fame, all thanks to Paul Levesque. So, kudos to him. And the last thing we will talk about is Vince McMahon creating WrestleMania. Obviously, it's become this spectacle. Started, as it is now, all because of Vince McMahon. He put in, WrestleMania 1 could have much been the final nail in the coffin for WWE. The ratings weren't that great, and then Vince McMahon came up with this. Actually, he actually didn't come up with the name WrestleMania. He talked to a guy, and he was like, "Oh, it's like a WrestleMania and stuff like that," and that's where Vince got the idea. But he eventually got wrestlers from all promotions, kind of like an all-star game, and he brought all this talent together. And obviously, pop culture icons like Muhammad Ali came in, and Cyndi Lauper, and just made it into what it is now. And so every single time you watch WrestleMania, and you kind of have that like that excitement. Like I know, like Thursday and Friday, when all week, to be honest, like I would watch like commercials for WrestleMania, and I'd be like, oh my god. And then you would get the heebie-jeebies and stuff like that. You get the butterflies in your stomach, and you're like, "Oh my god, I can't wait!" And it's over, which is sad. But I'm excited to watch Monday Night Raw. After this podcast, this Triple H coming. I'm excited. Like this is super cool as a wrestling fan. Sometimes, sometimes when you're, what is the saying? How does it go? Sometimes when you're out of your comfort zone, you kind of establish, or you kind of reach these abilities that you never knew you had. And I think that right now WWE kind of has that, like, that unpredictability, kind of like the Attitude Era. And you're like, oh yeah, this can happen. Because to be honest, I don't know who's going to challenge Damian Priest. I don't know who's going to be the first one to confront Cody Rhodes. Probably The Rock. But like, I don't know who Rhea Ripley's her next, her next opponent's going to be. And I think that's kind of like what you saw in the past with the Vince McMahon product slash, with the Shane McMahon. Like, it was just predictable. It was predictable. You can tell, like, oh, okay, WrestleMania, but, it's going to continue in this bad, this and that and the other. But I think for the first time in a long time, and that was kind of the reason why I stopped watching wrestling, was because it was so damn predictable, man. Like, night in, night out, just the same stuff. And you're like, man, why am I even watching this? And I took a step away from wrestling for like a good 5 years. And then I started watching it as soon as, Seth Rollins was there when they brought the Universal Championship, where Finn Balor got injured and had to, my very first episode of Monday Night Raw, when I got back into it, was that match to where Triple H he pedigreed Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins thought that Triple H was going to help him win, but he helped Kevin Owens ultimately win. And then that was when Chris Jericho and him were like the best friends, where he had the list of Jericho. Anyways, but I don't know. All in all, I'm excited. I'm pretty damn excited for, Triple H. Also something that Triple H said in an interview with Pat McAfee was that he has no intentions of inserting himself into the storylines. He had a cardiac event in his life that kind of, put him on the shelf and kind of like, man, I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't want to wrestle. I can't do this. I have a family and stuff like that. So, and he said, like, and I quote, "I've always enjoyed the behind the scenes aspect of creative," which is exactly what he's going to be doing. And he's been doing a damn good job so far. So there's not a doubt in my mind that Triple H, this new Paul Levesque era, is probably going to be one of the best eras of modern wrestling, compared to the Attitude Era. It's going to be special. It's going to be super special. And honestly, I'm excited to see it. Like, Triple H is a badass. Like, he's one of my favorite wrestlers. And there might be, a little biasy there, but I don't know. Like, I think he's going to do really well. And I'm excited to watch Monday Night Raw. So I hope, I will be doing live reactions to Monday Night Raw on YouTube. So make sure you check out those YouTube shorts. But anyways, thank you for tuning into the Wrestling Laureate Podcast, presented to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button and leave a positive review for the show. We love peace, love, and positivity at the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. So it really does make a difference, guys. Also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or /X, or Facebook for more content and updates. So also check out some of the shows we got, here in sports. We have baseball, basketball, football. Watch the Andrew Tate show. Here at the GSMC network, we just have, podcasts and we have, we're an entertainment conglomerate. It's pretty cool. So, give that a look-see. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of some of the podcasts I see from the other guys doing. So honestly, I think you guys will like it, So once again, thank you. Thank you so much. It was nice to see everybody again, and have a phenomenal day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to